Okay. Start early. It looks like you're all here. Well, I'm assuming everyone's here. Okay, so welcome parents in the class of 2025. Even saying that's a little weird, thinking we're in the 20s, and when you guys graduate, we'll be in the mid 20s, fastly approaching the 30s. So I welcome you here to the high school, which is awesome to have. You are literally the first parent group to sit in the Strom since March 13th of 2020. So consider yourself special in that sense. But I also was really happy to have you here because it's a signal to everyone that we're close. We're not there yet, but we're close to getting to a place where some of what we used to know will be back. And we're confident by next fall that we'll be in a much better place than we are right now, because we're in a better place right now than we were 1 year ago when we last had people in this auditorium. So I welcome you. I welcome you folks out there in Zoom world. I appreciate you attending, and do me a favor, hold your questions or write them in the chat box if you can, and then I'll answer them at the end during our Q&A. So, and I'd appreciate it if you just mute, because I won't be able to see you when I minimize you. So off we go. Okay, so without any further ado, this happened to me the other night, and it's really weird. Let's see, do it again. What? No. I think it's just an order of operations deal here. Okay, back in business. So without any further ado. So I thank you for coming again. I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that we want you to know. For some of you that have been in the audience, probably I see some familiar faces. Some of this will be familiar. For the rest of you, these are some things that are very key to us in terms of our student body. We'll have high expectations for you in regards to your academic performance, but we'll also have those expectations around social conduct and personal behavior. For us, that all starts with our acronym PRIDE. The P in PRIDE stands for personal responsibility, owning the consequences of one's actions. As you grow into a young adult in your time in the high school, you'll begin to understand that your actions lead to outcomes. And tonight is that first step in the process of understanding what my actions may lead to. And we'll talk a lot tonight about beginning with the end in mind, graduating, the credits I'll need to get. How do I make that foundation to get where I want to go aspirationally, whether it's college or the military or the workforce. But you as a student have to understand you own that path. It is your responsibility. Now, your parents will be a huge part in helping you along that path. So will the school. But ultimately, it comes down to you, the student. So we want you to understand that personal responsibility is really important. The R in PRIDE stands for respect, recognizing and valuing diversity of ideas, people, and our environment. I think this is probably one of the most important things that we could communicate to our students these days. While we might not agree on everything, we may disagree quite passionately about some things, we must respect one another. That's what a good and healthy community does. You have different points of views, but you respect one another because you're both a part of a community. That's what this school is. It's a community. And so we want you as students to respect your other students and faculty members. We also want you to learn and you live in a beautiful place, and maybe you already know that, but we need to cherish our environment and take care of it. And a lot of what we do here is based around that. We're one of the greenest schools in the country, and we're very proud of that. We're also doing a tremendous amount of work around DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for us, that really isn't about race. It is important for us, but in the state of Maine, one of the whitest states in the union, it's more about socioeconomic equality and equity, making sure no matter where you come from or your background, you're treated equally and you have the opportunity to access any opportunity in this school. The I in Pride stands for integrity, having the moral courage and making ethical decisions. Sometimes the right decision is the most difficult decision to make. And what's even more compelling is the action of making that decision. We want you to stand on that. We want you to have the courage to make the right decision when you need to. And that's a part of growing up. And hopefully we can help foster that for you. The D in Pride stands for drive, pursuing personal excellence with perseverance. What is also necessary is resiliency, the ability to pick yourself up. Any process, any outcome is going to have more failures than successes. If you think about it, I often give this analogy. If you're a baseball fan and you know the Hall of Fame is revered, where the best baseball players in the world go. To be in the Hall of Fame, you need to hit the ball 3 times out of 10. That means you fail 70% of the time. If you hit a baseball 3 times out of 10 for the length of your career, more likely than not, you're a Hall of Famer. Failure is a part of the process. We want you to drive through those failures, through those ups and downs, and understand that if you're able to do that, you will find an outcome that is favorable. We want you to push towards excellence, whatever that may be, whether it's on this stage, on the Don Palmer, which is the field, in the art room, in a math room, wherever it may be. We want you to push yourself to be the best version of you that you can be. Lastly, the E in Pride stands for empathy. And while I may look like a big giant bear, I am also really tender at heart. And as a counselor, the word empathy means a lot to me. I like this word a lot because it has a double meaning. One, empathy means to feel what someone else is feeling, to feel their pain, to feel their sadness, to feel their joy, to feel their happiness. But it's also showing compassion through actions. So not only do you feel what someone is feeling, but then you're provoked to do something to help that individual. If we're able to foster that in you as a student, you'll be a better member of your community, you'll be a better member of your family, and everyone will benefit from that. So while pride is really important to us, we know that it has far-reaching implications. You'll have access to great teachers. We have, I think, some of the most in volume nationally board certified teachers of any school in the state of Maine. We have a wide range of extra and co-curricular activities. We have the largest sports program in the state of Maine. Yes, we have baseball and soccer and field hockey and track and all the sports that you would expect to see at a major comprehensive high school. But we also have mountain biking, alpine skiing, sailing. You don't hear that often, or golf. We also strive for excellence on the field as well as in the theater. So there is something for everyone here. And I say that wholeheartedly. If you know what you're interested in, maybe you don't even know what you're interested in, there is plenty of opportunity to find that. And we want to help you down that road. You'll have a lot more freedom and choices in high school, but this requires more responsibility and self-reliance on your part, students. This year, we've been forced to open the campus for all grade levels, meaning that even as a freshman, you have open campus. If you have a study hall, you can leave. If you have a lunch period, you can leave. And that's done specifically to mitigate against the effects of COVID and how many people we have in the building at any given time, because we have 718 students plus 80 faculty members and close to 20 other facility workers. We crest about 1,000 people in this building on a daily basis. So we needed to mitigate against that, and we opened the campus for that reason. Normally, students wouldn't have those freedoms until junior and senior year because we feel it's a gradual process. We want you to be a part of this building. We want you here. We want to indoctrinate you to pride and some of the other cultures and commonalities of this school. But by your junior year, we want you to be responsible enough to have late arrival and early release if you have a study hall at the beginning or the end of your day. And by your senior year, we want you to have open campus, meaning that if you have a study hall or lunch, you can go to Dunkin', get a cup of coffee, come back. Go get lunch, come back. Go home, come back. Most likely, if you're heading to college, that's what you'll experience. You'll also experience that on the job. So we want to build those responsibilities within you before you leave here so that you're prepared for the world after high school. Lastly, we want you to know that ninth grade counts, and it counts tremendously. Tonight, we'll talk about at some point a GPA, your grade point average, meaning the average of all your grades accumulated over 4 years. That starts your freshman year. I always get a little chuckle out of this, but I'm a guy that tries to go to the gym, lose a couple of LBs. That's a lot harder if you don't stay consistent with it. If you're yo-yoing up and down, taking time off. It's the same with the GPA. If you come in and you set that GPA as high as you can as a freshman, it's a lot easier to maintain year after year. If you come in your freshman year and you don't take things as seriously, and things sneak up on you, which they will, and your grades aren't as high as maybe they could have been, that is a weight around your ankle that you will drag for the next 3 years. Now, you may be able to resuscitate that, but that's something that's always going to be there. So do yourself a favor. When you're in that gym class in freshman year, get 100. It's not that hard. Throwing dodgeballs. If you're in health, get as high as grade as you can. If you're in an elective or something that you may think is pretty easy, take care of business. Get the highest grade you can get, because believe me, by your junior and your senior year, you won't have that luxury. And who knows, maybe even by your sophomore year, you'll realize how difficult some of the courses in this building are. So ninth grade matters. It also matters from an attendance perspective. Obviously, with COVID, we've had to deal with a lot around attendance, but we have gone through the data and we realize that students that have a higher percentage of attendance freshman year are more likely than any other student to graduate on time with a higher GPA. It's that simple. If you're here, we can help you. If you're not, we can't. Set that pattern as a ninth grader. Ninth grade counts. Education in the 21st century has changed. We think we've got a great school here, and we want you to consider this home base. This is where you belong. You're a windjammer now. Okay? You got a couple more months. What is the Appleton mascot? Bobcat. You got a couple more months of being a Bobcat, and then you're a windjammer. All of you. From the 10 different sending schools that we receive students from now. From as far south as Damascata, where I live, and as far north as Northport. It's not just the 5 towns anymore. And that's a great thing. I love it. I want to share this school with as many communities as we can. It's a great school. So when you get here, we want you to consider this home base. We want you to understand that education has changed. There are just certain things that we can't deliver within the 4 walls of this school, metaphorically, that you can get out in the real world. So internships, we're very proud of the work, and I in particular am proud of that work. We have relationship with 40 different organizations and businesses in the community. This year's been a little trying, obviously with COVID, yet we still have, I think, 5 students doing internships. We had a student that graduated last year, Sophia Campbell. She was our salutatorian. She's a St. George student, not from Camden Rockport, who did an internship at a veterinarian's office for 2 years. It was instrumental in her desire to go into that field. She is now more passionate than ever to become a vet, studying at Northeastern University in Boston, my alma mater. Go Huskies. I really think that that internship influenced her quite a bit, and she had a really positive experience. Dual enrollments, that's the ability of students to take college classes while in high school. Right now, we have 50 students doing that in the spring semester. We had an additional 50 in the fall, and believe it or not, we had 50 over the summer. Now, some of those students are doubling up, so anywhere from 100 to 120 students individually have taken a college course for free while still in high school. Some students have graduated Camden Hills Regional High School with up to 16 credits. And if you do the math and you look at tuition costs, that's a lot of money. And those were all free credits. English 101, Bio 101, Math 101, Psych 101, you can do it. You can do it in person and you can do them online. Most of them are online right now, but in the fall, I'm sure you'll be able to go right here in Rockland to the UMaine Augustine Rockland campus or the Belfast campus, UMaine Hutchinson. We encourage students to take advantage of this. It's a great way to demonstrate success at the college level. It goes on your transcript, UMaine English. It also gives you the ability to save a lot of money. So we really encourage students to take advantage of this. Independent studies is a great way for students to craft their own education. Many times students that are language-bound students that are really interested in foreign languages, find that they don't want to take Spanish or French. They've had that ability, and they're not really interested in a dead language in Latin. Still a great language, and if you're going to go into the medical field, I recommend you take Latin. But they're more interested in German or Japanese or Chinese, Mandarin. So independent studies is a great way to do that. And there's people in the community that will teach you and will give you credit for it. If you're working at Erickson Field or Aldemir Farm, I always have trouble pronouncing that, and you want to get credit for that, we'll figure it out. It's about sustainability or agriculture. We'll give you credit for it, an applied academic credit. Independent studies. We want to figure out what makes sense for you as a student and then bend to you, rather than you bending to some sort of set formation. Many of our students work, and we want you to do that if that's something you need to do or if that's something you're interested in. We'll move your schedule around, especially as a junior and senior when you have a car, so that you can have maybe all your classes in the morning so that you can get off campus to go work. We also provide that opportunity through what's called the co-op class. It allows students that are minors under the age of 18 to increase their hours, which they're limited by law. We don't want you working too much because you still have schoolwork and you still got to hang out with your friends and you still got to have fun. But if you know that you need to carry a job while you're in high school, we want to help you out. Not only will we let you do that, we'll give you academic credit for it. Co-op program. Semester programs are really popular with a lot of our kids, especially those that are really interested in particular areas of study. Let's say sustainability or agricultural. Again, great programs in Maine, Chewonki, Kiev. There's also great programs in California at Oxbow, High Mountain Institute in Colorado. If you're interested in doing those things, we want to help you. And we'll make that happen. We'll work with those institutions to ensure. Or if you're a skier and you got into Carabasset Valley to go ski, let's go. Let's get you on the slopes. We'll figure it out. Travel abroad, I'm really proud of this program because I think it's a really essential thing for students to have perspective around the world, not just here in Maine. We have a robust travel program. And what hallmarks this program is that it's exchange-based. It's not just kids going on tours and staying in hotels. We don't want that. It's very nice, don't get me wrong. We'd rather you spend 2 weeks living with a family in Scotland or Germany or Italy or Australia or Argentina or any number of the countries that we take students to, the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa, which is actually a part of Spain, weirdly enough. The neat thing about exchange programs is that your student gets to have that experience 2 weeks in that country, and then they come back here, and those students come here and stay with you. And they get to experience 2 weeks here in the mid-coast area and in the Northeast in general, and they have a blast. The best part about this is accessible to all students. Why? Because we have scholarships. We're very fortunate that way. We have resources. And I can't say it enough. If there's an opportunity or something you want to do as a student here at Camden Hills Regional High School, we will make it happen. You just need to let us know. We'll figure it out. Many times we've gone into the community and asked for help, and with robust return, we've gotten what we need, and sometimes more than we need. We're very fortunate that way. Lastly, summer programs. We want students to take advantage of summer programs. More universities than ever before are offering what's called pre-college programs. It's an introduction to college. It allows you to get on campus, spend a couple of weeks on campus doing college things, taking courses, having fun, living in the dorms. My wife, who's an art teacher here, taught at Pratt Institute in New York City for 10 years. I'm from New York, FYI, don't hold it against me. They have a great summer program. And if you're interested in the arts and you want to go to art school, you should check out Pratt's program. The best part about it is that you have actual professors at the university teaching in these programs. I've had students get recommendations from these teachers to that actual university. Who best yet to write that recommendation than one of their own? So there's plenty of opportunities. We want you to do it. And all of these opportunities have nothing to do with what's going on in this building. We want you to get out there. So you heard me mention this before. I want you to start and think about your 4-year plan with the end in mind. And this is the end, graduation, what you'll need in order to walk across the stage in the gym in the summer of 2025. You'll need 4 credits in English, which means 4 years in English. Credit is 1 year. Half a credit is half a year. 3 credits in social studies, inclusive of world history, which is typically taken in your freshman year, US history, which is typically taken in your sophomore year, and then civics electives, which can be spread out over junior or senior year, or you can take multiple civics classes over those 2 years. 3 credits in math, with the caveat that you have to have a math experience for every year that you're in the building. So the normal matriculation for students is Algebra 1, followed by Geometry, followed by Algebra 2. That's 3 years. In your 4th year, if you don't want to continue in formal math, meaning pre-calculus or trigonometry or statistics, then you can take accounting, you can take personal finance. There are other ways to get that 4th year experience. Mid-Coast School of Technology also helps us with that. You need 3 credits in science, and that's inclusive of earth science, which is global science, your freshman year, life science, which is biology, and then a semester's worth of credit in chemistry and a semester's worth of credit in physics. Most students that are college bound or college aspirational will take that chemistry and physics and blow that out to a full year. So you have 4 full years of science. We think it's important that your students experience all aspects of science. But again, you could take chemistry and physics in your junior year, and then your senior year, if you're a Mid-Coast School of Technology student, or you're doing a STEM endorsement, or you're doing something that's related to science and technology, that will take care of that 4th year requirement, just like math. Flexibility, meeting the student where they're at. You'll have to take a half credit in health, and I'll talk about when it's advantageous to do that. You'll need 1 credit in visual and performing arts. You'll need 1 credit in applied academics, which can also be obtained through Mid-Coast School of Technology, and 1 equivalent credit from applied academics or visual performing arts. I call this the combo elective. You can either take 2 more classes in arts or 2 more classes in applied, or if you've done a mid-coast program for 2 years, you've got these credits in spades. This is new. These last 2, personal finance, competency. We're piloting a program with 12 students right now, 12 freshman students for an online personal finance class. In addition, we have personal finance in the building, and we're looking for ways in which students can demonstrate competency in personal finance by taking a test or an assessment of some sort. We think it's important that you graduate high school knowing how to balance a checkbook. Not that anyone uses a checkbook. Well, maybe in Maine they do. Not too many other places in the world. But that you understand debt to income ratio, that you understand the implications of student loans, that you understand how to manage a budget. Those are things that we think are really important, and we want every student that leaves this high school to have those skills. We're also working on a capstone project, which means like a culminating project. Now we're getting into actualizing this, and then COVID hit last spring. So we've kind of put the pause on this, and this may still be on pause for a little while longer, so you guys may not have to do this. But a capstone project could be something that you do at Mid-Coast. It could be an internship. It could be a job experience. It could be any number of things that is a culminating experience that you can articulate. It could be building a go-kart that you've been working on. You would just need to be able to tell us, what went into that, track it, show us a finished product, and be able to deliver that in homeroom to your homeroom classmates. So if you add all those credits up, 17.5. Well, hey, you said 22 credits are needed to graduate. That's true. Would you put a little bit of a buffer in there? We require that you take at least 6 credits per year. So if 6 times 4, what does that get to us? Anyone in the room? 6 times 4? Math? Anyone? 24, right? So you're going to graduate with credits over and above just by doing the 6 a year. But we put this buffer in so that in actuality, if you stub your toe, it's okay. Remember that part about failing is a part of any process? We understand that that's going to happen for some students. So we give you a little bit of breathing room to retake a class maybe. But we also put that breathing room in there so you can take an elective. Do things that you want to do, not necessarily what we tell you to do. So now that you know what goes into the end product, graduation, let's talk about building your schedule. So a lot throughout tonight, I'm going to ask you to do micro, macro, short term, long term. Well, I just talked about the long term. Now we're going to talk about the short term, and that's signing up for your classes. So green sheets. I don't know if these were given out to you yet, but your schools have them, okay? And each school has a little bit of a different process. So trust in their process. They've been doing it for many, many years. They know what they're doing. But this is a key part of signing up for classes. As you can see here on the screen, okay, you have your English classes, your social studies, your science, your math. And I know I've been beating you over the head with flexibility and courses. Well, in your freshman year, it's not that flexible. Sorry. We need you to take some things and get them out of the way, okay? You'll get the flexibility later. So really the only choice you have to look at is I'm going to do college prep or honors, semester 1, semester 2. Often the question is, what is the difference between college prep, and I call it mainstream because I believe every class in this building, whether it's AP, honors, or mainstream, or college prep, is college prep. So I call it mainstream. It's what the average regular student takes. The difference being, in honors, speed and volume. Faster and more work, okay? And if you're saying in your head, whoa, I don't want my math class to be fast, I don't want my science class to be fast, then don't take honors in those areas. That's fine. And if you're saying to yourself, I can handle it and I like a lot of work, I don't mind going fast, and you want to do honors across the board, great, do that. It's up to you as a student, as an individual. Don't do what your friend's doing. Don't do what your sister did or your brother did or your uncle. Do what you need as a student to create balance of rigor in your schedule. We're going to ask a lot of you. These classes are going to be hard. Understand that. You're going to have a lot of homework. Some nights it's going to seem like too much homework. But if you balance your schedule and you understand where your limits may be as a student, and everyone has limits, believe me, you'll be able to handle that workload. You'll see world history here. Even though it's a semester-based class, we've condensed it into one area and you just circle that one credit. Global science, again, it's just either honors or mainstream. In math, this is really where you're going to need to ask your math teacher where your levels may be, okay? We do have a math class that meets every day. That's Math Algebra 1A. And that's for students that need maybe a little bit more support getting through algebra. 1B is your everyday kind of Algebra 1 class. Then we have honors and geometry and honors geometry. If you're a student that's a super smarty and you've already done geometry and you know you're going to take Algebra 2, don't worry. You can just write it in on this one, because when you go to Power School, and I'm going to show you that, when you go to the drop-down screen and you plug that in, you'll see that Algebra 2 class there. Here are your languages, the modern classical languages. We offer Latin and French and Spanish. If you've never taken Spanish before, you're going to want to sign up for Novice A. Okay? If you've done 1 year of Spanish, then Novice B, and so on and so forth. So if you add that up, 2 semesters worth of English, that's 1 credit. 2 semesters worth of world history, that's another credit, that's 2. Global science, that's 3. Algebra, that's 4. Taking a language, that's 5. Remember Mr. Mark saying I need to get to 6. Well, we recommend that you take a health and at least 1 gym class your freshman year. That will get you to 6 credits. Right there, you're done. You've built your freshman schedule. Okay? Now, if you want to add on credits, yeah, you can take an additional gym. That's up to you. And I'll tell you a little bit when we look at schedules a little bit. I'm going to show you actual schedules, why it may be important to take health and gym your freshman year. On the back, now you've filled in, maybe you're not taking a foreign language your freshman year, but if you're going to go to college, and that's something that you already know in your mind, please know it wasn't a part of the graduation requirements. In the state of Maine, students do not need to take foreign language in order to graduate high school. However, if you want to go to college, you need at least 2 years. 3 is better than 2, 4 is better than 3. So maybe you're not going to take that language. You're going to wait. That's fine. It's up to you. And you want to get to 6 credits. Well, flip it over and choose an applied academic or a visual and performing arts class. In your course guide, hopefully your school will give you these. These are also online. And I know that I gave Appleton on page 53, there's a list, literally a grocery list of all these classes. And you can just kind of look in here, oh, this looks really interesting. What's printmaking all about? And then you can go into the description of the class and read about it. As freshmen, well, I should say, as 8th graders, you're the top dog right now, right? And then you're going to come into our building, you're going to become a windjammer, and guess what? You're going to be low man on the totem pole. Sorry, guys. Don't worry. Year after year, you get a little higher and higher until you get to that senior year. But that means you're the last ones that are programmed for electives. We plug in seniors first because they've been here the longest. They deserve that. Then juniors, then sophomores, then freshmen. So if you are going to put an elective on here, I encourage you to put a second choice. Because if you don't get into that photo class and that was your number 1 choice, and you don't put a second choice down, then we're not going to plug you into anything. And you may have a gap in your schedule and you may have to figure that over the summer, or something that you'll have to do during add drop, which is the first 2 weeks of any grading period, semester 1 and 2. If you're a gifted and talented student, we do offer gifted and talented programming, but you will need to get reassessed. And Mr. Gray comes out in the spring and reassess students for gifted and talented. That entitles you, if you are identified as gifted and talented, to take the Honors Integrated Humanity, which is a block program English and history class that is co-taught. The English teacher goes teaches the history class, the history teacher goes teaches the English class, and vice versa. If there are remaining seats and haven't been all taken up by GT students and you're interested in taking these classes, you can request to get into these classes, but you have to wait until all the GT students have been placed. Lastly, if you know that you're going to want to go to Midcoast School of Technology, which I encourage you to think about if that is something in your future. When I first arrived here 5 years ago, we sent the least amount of students to Midcoast School of Technology. We now send the most. We send close to 150 students to Midcoast School of Technology. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a $28.5 million building. It has resources that we could never replicate in this building in terms of their faculty and just their facilities. So it would be silly of us to think that you could get the same education here. So if you're interested in things like diesel engines or a CNA certificate or culinary arts or even digital technology, whatever it may be, we want you to go there. You're going to have an awesome experience. Kids love it. We have a liaison in the building, Miss P. She's awesome. Kids love her to death, and we're glad to have her back. Midcoast School of Technology is a wonderful opportunity, and taking Introduction to Applied Technology in your freshman year is a great way to learn about the programming that they have there. The nice thing is, that's offered in our building starting this year. It's downstairs in our makerspace. So you don't have to leave campus. You will go and access their building for different things, but primarily you're going to be here on campus, meaning that you can have half of your day not wasted or not taken up by traveling there or being at Midcoast. You can take additional classes here. It's all about accessibility and exposure. And we want you guys to take advantage of that. You'll notice on the bottom is a parent signature line. This is indicative of our desire to have things be done collaboratively. We understand that parents have a perspective and they want certain things done a certain way, but we also want students to build that personal responsibility. So we want you guys to do this together. And we want you to make sure that it just wasn't something done at school, it was something that was communicated and done together. So that signature line is on there, and you'll see that on every course sign-up sheet, all the way up to senior year. We want to make sure you guys are working together. Don't pay attention to the 2020 date on there. This is from last year. Okay, this is the part where people's brains go, like, what is that schedule? Don't worry, I'm going to work you through it. So this is our daily schedule prior to COVID. I would put up our schedule right now, but then I would really lose you because it's really confusing. But this necessity dictated that we make some changes. We needed to be responsive to not only our students, but our faculty members to ensure that they had everything they needed to be as successful as possible this year. We are very confident that we will get back to this schedule next year. It may change a little bit in the sense that we're looking at homeroom, maybe moving to in between third and fourth period. We're also getting a lot of positive feedback about our later start time, in the essence that science dictates that teenagers need to sleep a little bit more. Their brain is growing. So we may look at a later start time to be aligned with the middle school, somewhere around 8:30. But that's something that we're just gonna try to figure out. Campus will always be open at 6 a.m. and it'll stay open till 4. So don't worry about accessibility to campus, even if we have a later start. So if you look at the schedule, the R indicates red, the W indicates white. We have an alternating schedule, red, white, red, white, red, white. No matter what happens one day, it continues to go that route. If you have a snow day on a red day, the next day is a white day, irregardless. When you see long blocks, that indicates a year-long class. When you see half blocks, semester-based classes, semester 1, semester 2. These mini blocks, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, or quarter, but they're progress reports. They're not official grading areas. The official grading areas are semesters and year-longs. Okay. So if you were to look at this schedule for this student on a red day in semester 1, you'd see that the student has study hall in first period, 1AB, and some classes are a period and a half, so we have to split those. But in actuality, the student doesn't notice that unless they are in a split situation. Second period, they have Spanish. Third period, they start with lunch, and then they follow with geometry. And then in fourth period, they end their day with English. In this configuration, we have homeroom at the end of the day. Homeroom functions for 2 reasons. It allows us to have common time with the same group of kids for 4 years in a row. You travel with your homeroom for all 4 years. Hopefully, you establish a relationship with your homeroom teacher or advisor. Science and data shows us that if a student makes at least one positive adult relationship while they're in high school, they will be successful. We're hoping that that homeroom fosters that one positive relationship with an adult. It's also where we have tagging and flex time, extra help and support. And hopefully we can get back to that. Tagging is when teachers will tag a student. That means the student will get a alert sent to their Google Calendar and their email. We are a Google Suite school, so we use Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Docs, all those fun stuff. Don't worry, students, if you forget, your homeroom teacher also gets that alert. So you go to homeroom, you get your attendance, and in particular, this student has Miss Benson. If they forget, they'll say, hey, kiddo, you got tagged by Miss Gillette for English. You got to go up there. If you remember and you're responsible enough, you can just tell Miss Benson when you get your attendance, hey, I've been tagged. I need to go to Miss Gillette's room. That is an opportunity for students to work on things that they may have been confused by in class, to maybe do some super corrections on a test to get a better grade, or maybe just to get an opportunity to sit in front of a teacher that you could use their help. You'll see that schedules switch, right? From semester 1 to semester 2. Here's that gym health combination. And you can see there's a varying interest in this particular schedule. This particular student listened when we said, hey, take these, get them out of the way. They also chose to take an applied academic, which is culinary discoveries. They've got a foreign language in there, probably means they're college aspirational. And then you'll notice they decided to take honors geometry and honors English, but they went mainstream science and mainstream history. Not the traditional math science thing. That doesn't really exist, FYI. This is what this student knew they could handle, where their strong sets were. That leads into how do I choose the correct levels? Again, understanding balance of schedule. The student has honors global science, mainstream English, honors algebra, there's that math science, world history. They mixed in their gym and their health. Notice how it's split over 2 different colors, okay? This particular student is also taking course, okay? The nice thing about this schedule is that this student in particular, when I chose it because I knew that this student was a winter sport athlete. In semester 2, which is where winter sports happen, they have this batch of study halls right here. And that was done purposely. Why? Because basketball practice happens at 7:30 at night. Hockey practice happens at 9 o'clock at night sometimes. There's only one ice surface or one gymnasium. So winter sports often run late into the evening. So if you're managing and taking care of yourself and getting to bed on time, that doesn't vibe really with practice at 9 o'clock. So having those study halls during the middle of the day was crucial for this particular student in semester 2, so that they could do their white day homework on a red day and not have to worry about it that night. Personal responsibility, understanding what they needed in their schedule. Now, if you're a student that knows, if I have study halls, I am going to do nothing, then don't have those study halls in your schedule. Let's get them out of there. Let's get some electives in there. But I recommend as freshmen that you stick to those 6 courses, 6 credits. If you do that, then it automatically plugs study hall into your schedule, hopefully one on red, one on white for the entirety of the year. If you want less study halls, then add more classes. You can have up to 8 credits. I do not recommend that you take 8 credits. It's way too much, even for a really, really strong student. It's very, very, very seldom that we have students that take 8 full credits. That is a slam day all year long. 4 classes all year long on both colors. Band and chorus, I put this in here because you said, oh, Mr. Marks, I thought you said semester classes or 0.5 classes, and you'll see credit values in concert band and choral are 0.5, half a credit, but they're in a year-long block. It's only because they only are in half a period, 3A, as you can see, and this one is in 2A, 2B. So if you're one of those kiddos that's doing chorus and band, make sure that you understand that it is only worth half a credit when you're doing your math and adding up all your credits to get to 6 or 6.5. Lastly, I wanted to show you this schedule for the gym and health reasons. This is a student, and this is a junior year schedule as opposed to a freshman year schedule, which were the others that have shown you. This student did not take their gym and health freshman year. And as a result of them taking mid-coast, which takes them out of the building for the entirety of one of their colors, you can see in the add column over here that they were forced to do a direct study in course, meaning an independent study because they couldn't fit it into their schedule. They were also probably forced to take a UMaine class in psychology because they couldn't fit it into their schedule. Had they taken health and gym their freshman year and created that room down the road, begin with the end in mind, these classes, chorus and psychology, are in your schedule. Now, it's great that we can afford that flexibility. The student can do a directed study, independent study in chorus, and take advantage of UMaine aspiration courses to get that psychology course. But we'd rather you do one aspiration course like the elementary statistics and have those other 2 courses in your schedule here in the building. This is a jam-packed schedule. This student is working their tail off in junior year. I also really like this schedule because it shows the diversity of interests, right? They're at mid-coast and they're taking college courses at the same time. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. We want to see you multivariate. We want to see you doing not just one thing, but multiple things that you're interested in. So I like the schedule and I don't like the schedule. It's kind of a double-edged sword in ways. So Power School, and I'm going to navigate away. Hopefully I can get back to this. I just want to show you how you're going to sign up for courses, guys, really quickly. And the best way to do it is if you're looking for our website, if you do a Google search and you type in CHRHS, first one that comes up, right? We're that awesome. I'm going to grab, hey guys. Did I catch you by surprise there? All right. So I'm going to log in here to Power School. That's my first name. Okay. So you've done that Google search, you get to our website. Awesome, great website. Check it out. There's a lot of information on here. You scroll down, look, Power School, boom, there it is. You just click on it. It'll bring you to the Power. I've already signed in, but it'll bring you to the sign-in page, and off and running you go. I'm going to show you a little preview where you would end up. So you would sign in, you would get to a landing page, and you wouldn't see this particular information, but you would see this menu of choices over here, and you would select class registration, which would then bring you to this landing page. I want to point out that we've written some directions at the top of the page there. Please read those directions. Do not skip go. Read the directions. What it says in there basically is read all the directions all the time. So when you want to select a class, you click on the pencil icon, a pop-up window comes up, more directions are here. I'm using my green choice sheet. I say, oh, I selected English college prep. I say, okay, and boom. Now I've selected that English class. Normally, you wouldn't have that green check until you select that class, and because we're in the preview screen, it's doing it for me. I'll demonstrate here with the math. This is what you would see without a course registered. You'd see that exclamation point. You click on the pencil. Let's say you're a freshman, you want Algebra 1A, okay, boom. I've got registered for my math class, and see how that has now turned into a green check. Here are all the different areas that correspond to your green sheet are listed here. Okay, I'm going fast, but I want to get to the bottom. And you can see, because I've selected 2 courses, a semester-based class and a year-long, I'm now requesting 1.5 credits. You must request 6 credits. Otherwise, it won't let you submit. It's kind of a fail-safe, all right? So scroll down. If you've got 6 here, great. If you only wanted to sign up for 6 and you've got 7, okay, let me retrace, let me go back up, count my credits, make sure I haven't signed up for something that isn't on my worksheet. Once I've got the perfect match between what I've requested and what I need, a submit button will pop up. See how it has the exclamation point, doesn't even allow you to submit. You'll be able to submit at that point, and you've created your schedule. Yay, good job. Okay, really not that hard. And I'm sure your school, every school is a little different. Some schools sit down individually, some do it as a class. And they've been doing it for many years, so just trust in their process. Okay. Hi, guys. All right. Okay, so that's finding Power School. Oh, geez, criminy. So, we also want you to know that you're joining a community. And anytime you're a part of a community, there are certain obligations and rights that you've got to take part in. That goes for us as well. We have certain obligations and duties that we must fulfill. The way to find that information out is to review the student handbook. Now, I don't recommend that you read this late at night. It's not a page turner. It will put you to sleep. It's voluminous and it's a lot of text, no pictures. But it has everything that we do in there, soup to nuts, all our rules and regulations, dress code, you name it. We don't really have that one, but it's in there. Bell schedules, discipline, how many credits you need to take, tardy policies, all that kind of stuff. Read your handbook. You also want to read it because you want to hold us accountable. And that's what a good citizen in a community does. Not only are you responsible to your rights, but you hold those that are in charge responsible. Hold us accountable. If we're not doing what we said we would do in that handbook, you call us on it. I want you to do that. And that goes for parents and students. You'll realize this, and this year's been a little bit different, but we're going to survey the heck out of you. We're going to send you surveys all the time. We want to know, how's this working? How's that working? It's part of what we do. We want to be responsive. We want you guys to tell us what's working, what's not. And that's for students and parents. The most important question is, what do you plan to accomplish in high school? And a lot of students are like, duh, I want to graduate. I want to get out of here. Okay, I get it. Yes. Typically, that's what we're doing here at high school, right? Is to get on track to graduate. But I also want you to understand the importance of graduating. And this is some very basic statistics and data around why it's important to graduate high school. It's not necessarily that we expect all of you to go to college. We don't. It's not realistic. It's not the world that we live in anymore. And that's not how we advise students. But it is realistic to understand that there will be some iteration of post-secondary education. This is called secondary. Post-secondary is after high school. And what we mean by that is, by graduating high school, you'll have the ability to gain apprenticeships, to enter into diploma programs or certificate programs, to be a part of military. A lot of students don't understand that. You've got to graduate high school before you enter the military. It's that simple. And associate's degrees. More students than ever before are doing the 2+2 model, which is 2 years in a community college and then 2 years at a 4-year school. It's half the price, you get the same piece of paper. That works for you as a student, that makes sense. UMaine has a great program with, I believe it's Southern Maine Community College in Brunswick, and their composites and engineering program. You can go 2 years down in Brunswick, they have a dorm. You can learn all about composites and engineering at half the cost, maybe a fraction of the cost that you would pay to go to an engineering school. And if you want to continue, then you can seamlessly transition to Orono and UMaine and finish up your degree with two more years. If that's the path that works for you, we want to help you get there. But you got to graduate high school. So like I said before, we want you to think short term, which is filling this out, doing your course sheets. We also want you to think long term, micro, macro, big picture, small picture. We're going to ask you to do that continually while you're in high school, to be able to toggle between what I'm doing today and how that fits in to my larger plan. Remember that part about carving your own path and having responsibility and owning your actions that lead to consequences or outcomes? That's a part of it. Understanding that what I do today has reverberations for years to come, maybe. Short term, long term, micro, macro. So what's next? And I say this with fingers and toes crossed. I'm hopeful with the good weather, we'll be able to assimilate to some of these, and with vaccinations and all the other fun stuff that are coming our way. If we're able to do this, I'll be very excited. Normally, we have Jeff Hart, who's our athletic director, and our assistant principal, Mr. Bodie, and a panel of students go out to the sending schools to talk to you about getting involved in teams or clubs, after-school activities. The students will talk to you about their path, what they decided to do to get involved. I want you to understand, going to high school isn't just about going to your classes. It's much more than that. It's a lot more than that. If you're interested in the Gifted and Talented program, Tom Gray will come out to your high school or do a virtual presentation, or your middle school. Hopefully he's able to come out in person and do those assessments. If you are interested and you are a GT student, please know that that process happens in the spring. Okay, you're going to let us know that you want to do it by signing up for Integrated Humanities, but you have to be assessed. Okay, so indicate that by signing up for that GT course on the sheet or in Power School. State Park Day. It's a really important day, I think, for us. It's the first day that you'll meet everyone that's in your homeroom from all the different sending schools, from all of them. It's a really neat day. It usually happens late in May, so we're hopeful that we're going to be able to pull it off. Talk to some of the principals, and they're cautiously optimistic that we can distance, we can be outside, wearing masks, do all the things that we normally do on a state park day. And when barbecue comes, we sit farther apart from one another. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Step up night. I want to do it, so we're going to do it. It's probably going to be outside. It'll probably be in June. It'll probably be on the Don Palmer instead of in the gym. That's an opportunity for you guys to come in We set up tables for all the sports teams, clubs, all the activities. Teachers set up tables. You can meet students. You can sign up for things. It's just a really fun night. It was my first night here when I first got hired. I had a great experience. I sat right there. Bob Sampson, who was here for 1 year as the principal. And he always used to say, he was a big ski guy. He was an Olympic ski coach, actually coached someone to a silver medal. He said to me that night, Jeremy, in the ski world and ski schools, we say happy kids go fast. He said, there's a lot of fast kids in this room. It's true. There's a lot of happy kids here. It's a great school. And Step Up Night is part of that. So I hope we're able to do it, because you'll hear from Dr. Carlson. You'll be able to meet some people that will become your friends in the years to come. You maybe get a taste of the food in our great cafeteria. It's one of the best in the state. Farm to table, locally sourced, wins all sorts of awards. Miss Boyven does an amazing job. And she's doing an amazing job right now in some of the most trying circumstances and feeding a tremendous amount of people. She deserves a lot of gratitude for that. Lastly, well, kind of, graduation from 8th grade. This is a huge deal, guys. It may not be that big of a deal to you, but it is to your parents. It's a life marker. It's one of those things that, it's one of those tearjerker moments, guys, right? And you may be like, it's no big deal. I'm ready to go to high school. Slow it down. Understand, it's a great accomplishment. And understand, when you get here on campus for freshman orientation, things are going to be a lot different. You're going to go from a school where you have 18 kids in your class to a school where you have 180 kids in your class. You're going to go from a school where you knew everyone for the last 8 years, like quite literally everyone, to a school where you may only know a quarter of the population. Things change. That's life. You're growing up. It's exciting. It's new. It's part of it. But understand that you should appreciate your graduation from 8th grade. Give yourself a pat on the back. Job well done, and on to the next challenge. Freshman orientation is a one-day event. It's here on campus. It's only freshmen. It's a great event. We put a lot of work into it. It encompasses what's it called? A treasure hunt or scavenger hunt, some ice cream socials. A lot of fun is had that day, and there's a lot of information that's given out on that day as well. The following day, you start high school for real, with all the other classmates and the other 700 students that will be here. Fingers crossed, guys. We'll get there. Lastly, Dr. Carlson usually comes along for these with me. Right now, he's in a board meeting, so he couldn't be here, and he apologizes. We had initially scheduled this for last week, and when we rescheduled, we wanted to get it in this week, and tonight was the only night that we could do it. So he's bummed he couldn't be here. He likes being here and seeing you guys, and you guys getting to know him. If you know anything about Dr. Carlson, you'd know that he's a phenomenal educator, and he's someone who's very dedicated to students, as well as the faculty that he's in charge of. If you have questions, concerns, like to file a complaint against Mr. Marks for making me stay here for an hour and listen to him drabble on, be my guest. I also put my email up there. I want you to ask me questions. This is a process that's starting now, February 3rd. It's going to last all the way till second week of September. Nothing is set in stone. You're going to select these classes. It's going to be put in a matrix. You may get some of the classes you wanted. You may not get all the classes you want. Maybe you want to change some things around. We can do that in add drop. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Select your classes. Make sure you get 6 credits, and understand that we can change things as we go. It's not a big deal. And that's why I put my email information up there. And I will also, we're recording this, I will also publish this presentation for you guys on YouTube. Not that you're going to want to watch this again, but if you do want to get some information out of there, you can. I'm going to stop sharing and bring everyone in Zoom land back. Hi, guys. Thanks for hanging in there with us, okay? And I want to open it up for some Q&A. So if you guys at home have some questions, you can ask me and I'll repeat it to the crowd so they can hear. And likewise for folks in the audience, if they ask a question, I'll repeat it so that you guys can hear it. So questions? Anything? I didn't do that good of a job. Anything? Random. Folks at home, any questions there? Nope. Okay. Well, you now have my email. You know what I look like. You can come and ask me questions. If you want to come back and spend some time with me in my office, that's fine. Or a phone call or an email. It's all good. I'm here for you. Okay. So, we got a question. Can a freshman do independent studies for Russian? You bet. Das Vidanya. Of course, yes. Yeah. As long as you know who you can have, we wouldn't be able to supply a teacher for that. But if you have someone that you know, a tutor or someone in the community that could teach that for your student, that's no problem. It's a very simple application. It's online. You fill it out. You tell us who's going to teach the class, how long it's going to go for. It's vetted by Tom Gray, who's also in charge of our independent studies. And then we award the credit at the completion of that independent study. So yeah, no problem. Let's see. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well then keep going. You can definitely do that. So if he's already doing that, that you're already halfway there because you already have an established relationship. It'll be really easy for you to fill out the application to get that independent study. You can just lean on your guidance counselor to help you with that. Every student will be assigned a guidance counselor that travels with you for 4 years. And you're good to go. You can do Russian for all 4 years if you'd like. All right. Okay. Questions from out here? All right, guys. It was only an hour. Not that bad. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a great evening. Bye, guys.